Peace, guys. Patrick, ConservativeRap. And in this video, we're going to be talking about why the central bank and the deep state are losing. They tried to stop the tariffs. That didn't work. They tried downgrading the U.S. ratings with the whole Moody's thing. That worked. And inflation hasn't raised like they've been telling us. Energy costs are actually going down. So let's cover some economic news. I think you and I will both see that what we're hearing from the deep state is, of course, like all times, fake. Check this out. Just first on the whole climate going green narrative nonsense. Let's take a quick look. This is on X. Breaking news of the day put this out. Hawaii, check this, becomes the first state to pass climate change tax targeting tourists. They're just going to destroy the industry. Governor Josh Green signs a law imposing 0.75% green fee on hotel stays and cruise visitors. Whoever thought of this is an idiot. The tax takes effect in January and aims to offset.
After years of political back and forth, the pen finally hit the paper.
I hope that the world is watching, because having something that is a balance between industry and environment is going to be the way to go forward to protect your people.
Senate Bill 1396, now Act 96, creates what's being called a climate impact fee, also known as the green fee. The 0.75% increase to the state's transient accommodation tax hikes the TAT to 11% for tourism-related activities, including hotels and cruise ships. To break that down, for every $400 spent, $3 will go towards natural resource protection. The bill is projected to raise an estimated $100 million a year to address what the state says is about $500 million in critical funding needed to protect Hawaii's natural resources.
So how much of that is really going to anything green? Who really believes this whole climate agenda nonsense is about anything but lining their pockets? It's nothing but a secret tax, let's face it. Next, let's move on to a zero hedge. I love this kind of posting and the content they put out. Despite tarifflation fear-mongering, Fed's favorite inflation indicator tumbles to a 4-year low. This is a great tongue twister here. All right, so the Fed's favorite inflation indicator, personal consumption expenditures, fell again in April to its lowest since April 2021 at 2.5% year over year. Services inflation is slowing rapidly. Let's keep going. Headline personal consumption expenditure fell to 2.1%. The downturn was triggered by a large deflationary impulse on non-durable goods. Supercore PCE also tumbled to 4-year lows with its first month-over-month decline since April of 2020. Supercore PCE was driven down by a big drop in financial services and insurance costs. And I know this is a lot of graphs, but you'll get the point shortly if it's not clear already. Finally, all of the terror of tariffs in the soft survey data, spending continues to increase and incomes are growing strongly. On the income side, both government and private workers saw compensation accelerate. Given the outperformance of income over spending, the savings rate rebounded strongly to its highest since April 2024. So it's going to be hard for Jerome Powell to justify the pause now, of course. And then Bloomberg simplifies. Core inflation falls to lowest rate in 4 years. Prices barely climbed in April, pulling the annual rate of inflation down toward the Federal Reserve's 2% target, even while personal income climbed at a rapid rate. The personal consumption price index climbed 0.1% in April, the second month in a row in which consumers got relief from inflation that had plagued the economy throughout the Biden administration. In March, the index showed prices were flat. Compared with a year ago, prices are up just 2.1. So they're summarizing. Core prices measure excludes food and energy also rose 0.1%. Over the past year, core prices are up 2.5%, the smallest year-over-year increase since March of 2021. So the narrative, again, this whole thing where they're trying to pin Trump to be some type of like economic boogeyman who's going to put us in a bad spot, that window's closing. And people are really starting to feel the effects of what's happening. It's not they're not going to be able to spin the BS for much longer. Let's move on to more from X. This is Trump War Room.
Up 8/10. Up personal income is up 8/10. Up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations, and it underscores we could talk about a lot of issues, but when you look at income for the first 4 months of the year, they're powerful numbers, Joe. Up 0.6 in January, up 0.7 in February, up 0.5% last month, up 0.8 this month. This is a great 4-month start to any year. Now, with the income shooting up, and by the way, 0.8 is the strongest income month-over-month jump since May of 21, when it was 1.9. Personal income is up 8.
More facts. It's and Trump War Room simplifies. The Trump economy is roaring. Person then simplifies here. More of an example. John Deere to invest $20 billion in America. New assembly lines, factories, and U.S. Steel. Major announcement from John Deere is giving more hope for a future with a prosperous economy. According to the company website, John Deere will invest $20 billion in U.S. over the next decade, with hometowns where these investments will go, seeing a projected $25 billion impact. Factories in Tennessee, North Carolina, Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois will see new expansions, new assembly lines, and new factories altogether. Additionally, the company boasted a majority of the raw steel used in these factories will also be from the United States. This is the economic agenda. John Deere put it on their own website. Shouts to them. It's a joy to see pro-American companies coming back and the future of just American jobs. If there's one man we should be trusting with the economy, I mean, you and I both know it has to be Trump. He had it popping before COVID. He's going to get it popping again. In his own words, it's going to be better than before. And there's nothing the World Economic Forum, there's nothing Jerome Powell, there's nothing the Federal Reserve can do to stop it. Next, let's move on to J.D. Vance. There was a crypto summit recently, as you may know, and he talks about Bitcoin serving as a strategic advantage over China. I'm just going to quote Vance quickly. The People's Republic of China doesn't like Bitcoin. We should be asking ourselves, why is that? Why is our biggest adversary such an opponent of Bitcoin? And if the Communist Republic of China is leaning away from Bitcoin, maybe the U.S. ought to be leaning into it. And that's one of the things we're going to be doing. So it's great to finally have an administration that's not only lifting some of the regulatory uncertainty and burden that's been on crypto for the longest bit of time, but also openly embracing what's going to be, in my mind, the next hedge against the fiat dollar, right? You have the US dollar here, and you have Bitcoin and gold being the next sort of repository for the treasury, etc. Trump put this out on Truth. Moving on. Check this out. The Democrat-inspired and controlled Congressional Budget Office, CBO, purposely gave us an extremely low level of growth, 1.8% over 10 years. How ridiculous and unpatriotic is that? They did the same thing in 2017 and we doubled their numbers. The information released is even more absurd and indefensible. I predict we'll do 3, 4, or even 5 times the amount they purposely allotted to us, 1.8%, and with just our minimum expected 3% growth, will more than offset our tax cuts, when in actuality cost us no money. So again, guys, there's an economic reality that we're walking into. We need to be prepared for it. We need to be excited about it. And most importantly, we need to tune out the fake news propaganda, the same BS that was Russia, impeachment hoax with a stupid phone call to Ukraine. The same people that put out the Stormy Daniels nonsense. This is the financial equivalent. We're removing ourselves from their system. And the truth is, once you wake up, you don't go back to sleep. In the same way people don't pay attention to the news anymore, these sorts of economic freedoms and this new economic prosperity that we're walking into, this golden age, it's going to free us from the deep state financial servitude that we've been under for at least the last few decades, close to 100 years. Feel free to comment subscribe, like, share. I'm also on TikTok as well as Instagram. And check out conservativerap.com for more. Thanks so much, and take care.